Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video from the Mathnasium. Today's video we're going to be going over how to do basic 2D sketches, and we're going to actually draw something up and try and be as accurate as possible. So I hope you enjoy this, and yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in. So we're going to start a new sketch, and if you go to your Google Classroom here, you're going to need to, in Google Classroom, let's see, you'll see this assignment 3-2 practice. I'm going to be drawing this shape, and you get to draw these two. Okay, and so mine is going to be a little bit harder to draw than yours, but I'm sure you guys are okay with that. So let's go ahead and start in Onshape by pressing the Create option and then the Document option. All right, I'm going to title this the assignment and my name, so I'll say 3-2 Andrew Slagle, and then we'll say 2D sketch. Okay, so we're going to get so make sure when you are submitting assignment you have it organized here, so everything's going to be done in order. All right, so now we're going to select the plane on which we're going to be drawing. Remember, the plane is like the piece of paper, and for two-dimensional sketches, it doesn't actually matter which plane you select for today. So I'm just going to select Sketch, and I usually just default to the top plane here. I'm going to change my view to the top view so that we can see what's going on, and I am going to deselect the other planes so that I just see my kind of canvas that I'm going to be drawing on. All right, so a quick little tip that's going to help you when you're doing your assignments is typically I'll have a picture of something that you need to draw and you want to refer back and forth to it. So rather than like three-finger swiping or like going up like this and then clicking over, rather than doing something like that, I find it a lot easier to use the Alt-Tab. If you're on a Mac, it would be Command-Tab. But it allows you to cycle. If you Alt-Tab really quickly, you can tab to any program that's open, but if you Alt-Tab really quickly, it allows you to cycle back and forth between windows that are open. So you can make it a quick reference here to what's going on, and then go back to start drawing. So I need to be drawing here in this sketch. I'm going to be starting with the line tool as usual. Let's go back. I'm going to actually start with this bottom line, and a good common practice when drawing in any sort of computer-aided design software is you want to try and have the object, whatever is as easily centered as possible. So I'm actually going to put the origin right here at the bottom of my object because it doesn't really have a definite center, so to speak, so I'll just say the bottom line. Center of the bottom line is going to be my starting point. Now we're going to draw everything in its rectangular form first, and then we're going to come back and we're going to add these what are called fillets at the very end. So we typically do that at the very end. So we're going to draw the outline. We're going to go through all the techniques for drawing that outline. Then I'm going to place the circle, and then we'll come and do the fillets. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so if that bottom line is 70 inches and I want this to be centered, I'm going to keep this horizontal and I'm going to go out. Oh, you know what? First thing, those are likely in millimeters. So before I get started, I'm going to come up here and change my workspace units to millimeters. I should have started with that. Thank you. Okay, and then that pulled me out of my sketch, so I got to go back into my sketch, press L to grab my line tool quickly, and then I can draw. So remember, that was a 70 millimeter line coming across there. So let's go ahead and go out 35 to the right. 35. So you can press your starting point, press your ending point, and then type in the number. Okay, so I'll go 35 out this way, and then I'm going to go 35 out this way. Okay, great. Instead of having those dimensions be split like this too, I could have done a construction line out 35, but we're just going to go 35 out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the Escape key, and I'm going to select these dimensions and delete them. And then I'm going to grab my dimension tool here, and the dimension tool will display the length between those 2 points. So I want the dimensions to be in the same spot that they are on the drawing. Okay. And we may have a couple extra ones, but that's okay. 70, enter. Okay, great. So I'm going to work my way up to the left really fast. It says that's 15 high. I'll keep things nice and perpendicular. Grab my line tool, draw up, type in 15, enter, and I think the dimension is on the right, so I'll keep it on the right, just like in my drawing. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can kind of see what we got going on here. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then let's go back to my drawing. Looks like I go up 20 on this side. So I'll grab my line tool, click, up 20. All right, and then the next measurement, we can go back. Uh-oh, it doesn't say the measurement here. We're in trouble. Oh no. Okay, how far over do we need to go here? This is a little bit problematic. So it's kind of missing some information. Well, it's probably based off of these angles, but we don't have enough information about these either. We're going to have to make a couple assumptions, but that's okay. My first assumption is that I know that this center of this circle is 32.5 millimeters from this left edge of the shape. It also looks like the center of the circle is dead smack in the middle of this little gap. Well, that gap is 5 millimeters wide, so the distance from here to here is 2.5 millimeters, and the distance from here to here is 20 millimeters. So if you subtract those two different distances, I know that this is 2.5 and this is 20, and I know the whole thing's 32.5, so that means this little piece had better be 10. So I'm going to go back in with my line tool. I'm going to draw in a line. Whoa, what the heck? Try that again. Line tool, click. I'm going to draw that in as 10. The next one is 20. Okay, and we'll fancy up all our lines at the end, and I think the top one is also 20. I'm kind of operating off of memory. Let's check. Yeah, 20, 20, 10, 20. Okay, then down 10 over 5, up 10 over 10. Do those really fast. Down 10 over 5, up 10. Now, notice how I'm drawing it way longer than it needs to be, typing in the length, and then it's shortening, and then over 10. Okay, great. So we got this basic shape. We have everything but this weird feature here. One thing that I don't like about what I've got going on, though, is my dimensions are all over the place. So I want to make them nice and neat. I'm going to drag these out so they're very easy to read. We got 10, we got 10. We'll throw 10 here. We'll throw 10 there. And I think 5 is actually represented up top. So 5 there. So you can see where everything is in the drawing. Kind of exciting. I like what we got going on here. That's looking nice. Okay, we'll leave it a little bit bigger. Okay, super. So we got all our dimensions present from our all right, let's see here. Going back and forth, all of our dimensions present, and now I need to draw these lines. Now the problem is I technically don't know the angle here. I can assume it's 45 from horizontal. So it looks like this line is connecting these two lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line that comes across here. I'm going to find the midpoint of that line, and then I'm going to use it to form this line in the middle. You may need to rewatch this if it didn't stick, so you understand the technique that I'm going to use here. So I am going to use the line tool to connect those two, and I'm going to use this construction line feature. So I'm going to come down, click the construction line. Now construction lines are just meant for you guys, and notice that the number is all messy here. That's because it's it's the diagonal, so it's not going to be pretty. It's probably going to be an irrational length, talking math-wise. Now if you hover over the middle, you'll get a little square that pops up. That square represents the midpoint in this program. I can click on the midpoint and then draw a line out and make that 5. Now the reason I did that, the reason I made it 5 is I just found the midpoint of this line, and it's half, which is 10 wide, so to get to the end point, I'm going to go out 5 from that spot. Okay, great. Now I'm going to come and grab my line feature, and we're not going to do a construction line this time, because I am going to delete those construction lines. Now I'm going to draw this line down, enter 10, and we're going to take off running here. Man, this is fun. I love doing this. I'm going to click my construction lines and delete, and now I've got the basis, kind of the starting spot for the remainder of the lines in my drawing. All right, so I'm going to grab the line tool here. We're going to come up, looks like 15. So we'll come out 15. It did not like what I just did. Let's try that one more time. Oh, there it's fine. That's weird. So this is, it looks like it is not 15. Let's click and make sure we got the dimension of this line. Looks like way too long. So I'm going to click here. We're going to type in 15 millimeters. I also want to make sure that this line is perpendicular to that line. So click this line, perpendicular to that line. Should shove it over. Okay. I'm going to keep going around, and I'm going to draw another line here. I'm going to click, type in 15, press enter, and again, we don't want to, we can make this perpendicular to that line, or we can make it parallel to the previous line. So we can say, I want this line parallel to that line. It will force it into position, and then connect the top there. So I got to do that all again with this next feature, so it's going to take me a minute or two, but it's not too bad. 15. So let's make sure things are perpendicular. I'm going to add that constraint, and we'll add, we want this parallel here. All right, grabbing our line tool, we can now connect, and we've got a solid shape. We can tell it's a closed feature. There are no holes or gaps because it was grayed out when it was finished. So we've got the basic shape of what we were looking for here. Now what we have to add, we have to add a circle that has radius 10, and we have to put it in the correct position. So what I'm about to do is going to confuse you a little bit, but if you grab the circle tool, what does it say? Oh yeah, here we go. If you grab the circle tool, make sure it's selected. The C is the hotkey for that, and click and drag. I'm going to draw a circle, and if you go to 10, you'll notice it's too small, and that's because this is measuring by the diameter, and in our drawing it gave us the radius, which is the distance from the center to the outside. So we actually want one that's 20. And notice I didn't get it exactly 20. If you want to change that dimension, well, hold on here. Okay, it's giving you the diameter of the circle. I'm going to put it right there, and I want it to be exactly 20. Now, even though the drawing said 10, it was talking about the radius, we've got the diameter here. Okay, so now there's a couple ways to move the circle. You can click and drag it, but that's not going to be very accurate. It doesn't look like it's in the right spot. Remember, this is has restrictions. It's 32.5 millimeters from the left edge and 15 millimeters from the bottom edge. So I'm going to use my dimension tool to move it. In fact, I could put my circle way the heck over here, right? But then when I use my dimension tool, I'm going to say, all right, click here, and then click the line, and you get this line here. It says it's currently 49.46 millimeters away. Oh, we don't want that. We want 32.5. So that's going to bump my circle over. But if you look now, the circle is too low. So we're going to use the dimension key to move the circle. Click the center, click the edge, type in, and press 15, and that's going to move my circle up. Now, notice how I'll have all my dimensions located and positioned so they are legible. It is a thing of beauty. It's so clear, really easy to understand. The only thing that I do not have is I have not rounded off the edges of this little design for a spacer plate, or I'm not sure what it is exactly, this random shape. So we're going to grab the sketch fillet. So there's a couple ways you can use it. I typically click on the two edges that I want to use. It says you want a radius 5. You can drag in to what you think looks the best for this shape, or you click when you're done, and after it kind of truncates that, you can type in the length that you want. I want length 5. Now when I come down to this bottom edge and click, it'll automatically recognize that I used 5 before, so I probably want to use 5 again. We got a 5 millimeter fillet, which means the radius of the circle that's being used for the fillet is 5 millimeters. It's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. And again, if you want to display the radius of that circle, you can drag it anywhere that you feel is legible. And it's only going to display one. It's kind of assuming that they're all the same. So that's it for drawing in Onshape and two-dimensional drawings. I think now you should hopefully have the skills. We've gone over a lot. We went over how to use the line. Remember using those hotkeys when you're done. Make sure you press finish sketch and your sketch will be done. I do want to see when you submit a screenshot, please have your dimensions present when you submit it so that I can see that you understand how to move dimensions, get them into position, and make sure if there are any fillets that you've got those done. We went over construction lines, which are meant to kind of be deleted so they can help you put things into position if you need to. We also went over the perpendicular and parallel constraints. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you have any questions on the other two assignments. We'll see you later.